Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. Today Olivier will be with you to show you how you can configure and change VoiceOver voice using iOS settings. First of all, he'll show you the major difference between compact voices and high quality one. And after that, he'll show you how it is possible to configure different voices with different speech rate, or even to change the voice itself. Let's say that you want a faster voice for navigating the web and a slower one to read text. It is perfectly possible to do so. And it'll also show you how it is possible to add voices for other languages and how to select them using the VoiceOver rotor. Enjoy!
Hello everybody, Olivier with you today. Hope you're doing well. In this podcast, I want to cover how to change voice inside of VoiceOver because, sighted people have a variety of wallpapers and they can choose whatever wallpaper they want to make their screen look in a way that they like. And for us visually impaired people, voices are kind of wallpapers, according to me, in the sense that if you don't like the voice that you're using, it might be less fun to use your phone every day than if you have a voice that you like. And iOS offers a variety of voices. So in today's podcast, I'm going to show you how you can switch between these voices, how you can configure different languages as well as different dialects, and how you can download a voice. So without further ado, let's get started. So what you want to do is go ahead and open your settings, and when you will turn on VoiceOver for the first time, you will hear this voice.
7:07 p.m. Settings. Back button.
This is Samantha Compact, and I will make something clear just before we start this podcast. When I'm speaking about compact voices versus high quality voices or HQ voices, compact voices are smaller voices, but the quality is less good. The quality of HQ voices is much better. However, iOS does contain a lot of compact voices by default, and fortunately these are compact, because imagine if it would be all HQ voices, it would take a huge amount of space on your phone, and considering that VoiceOver has so many languages that it would not be possible to store all of the HQ available voices. However, you can download them, and so when you start your iPhone for the first time, you will hear Samantha Compact.
7:09 p.m.
So the phone just locked by itself. I'm going to unlock it.
Back button. Settings.
And
Settings.
now
Heading.
I am in the root of my settings. So let's go to General.
General. General. 1. Selected. Settings. Back button.
Okay, let's go to Accessibility.
Aired. Hand. Cart. Accessibility. Button. Selected. General. Back button.
Then let's choose VoiceOver.
Vision. VoiceOver. On. VoiceOver. Accessibility. Back button.
Okay, then go ahead and find Speech.
VoiceOver. Tap. Double. Swipe. Voice. Speaking rate. Speech. Button.
There you go.
Selected. VoiceOver. Back button. Speech. Heading. Edit. Button. Voice. Samantha. Button.
Voice Samantha. So we're gonna come back here in a minute. I just want to see the different options with you.
Pronunciations. Button.
Pronunciations. So this is basically a pronunciation dictionary. So let's say, for example, that VoiceOver pronounces a word in a certain way, and you want it to be pronounced in another way. You can go ahead and add this word. So I'm not going to cover this today. However, if you request it, I might cover it in a future podcast.
Pitch. Heading.
Pitch. So you can play with the pitch of the voice.
Pitch. 50%.
So
Adjustable.
right now it is at 50%.
Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value. 40%.
I'm going to swipe down.
30%.
Then it's at 30% right now.
Use pitch change. On. Double tap to talk.
Pitch change. Basically, pitch change is, for example, when you type, VoiceOver will announce the letter that you wrote in an higher pitch, and when you delete them, it will say it in a lower pitch, or it can be by reading tables. VoiceOver can also switch pitch. I'm going to increase the pitch of the voice now.
Pitch. 30%. 40%. 50%. 60%. 70%. Use pitch change. On. Pitch.
Okay, I'm going to put it back to 50%.
60%. 50%.
There we go.
Use pitch change. On. Rotor languages. Heading.
Rotor languages. So
English US. AVA. Enhanced. Button.
you can
Actions
have
available.
multiple languages. Right now, we are set as default language English US. When your language rotor is set to default language, and let's say the iPhone detects some French text, let's say you're on a web page on a French website, the iPhone detects that it is French. What it will do, if you are set as the default language, it will change language and it will use a French voice to read French content. However, some users might not like the fact that the iPhone
Screen dim.
automatically switches language, because it doesn't switch right language all the time. Meaning, sometimes I'm browsing the internet or I'm reading an article, the iPhone thinks the text is in English when in fact the text is in French. So if you don't want that to happen, what you have to do is go ahead and add your primary language, in this case English US, in the rotor. So to add a language in the rotor, we're going to see that in a minute. I am going to add French Canadian, which is my first language.
Add new language. Button.
So to do that, you click add new language. English US is already added in my rotor, but you would do the same thing instead. You would choose English US or whatever English is your language.
Selected. Speech. Back button. Add new English. English. UK.
Now let's add English Australia.
English. Australia.
It will be useful for later in the podcast.
Selected. VoiceOver. Back button. Speech. Edit. Voice. Pronunciations. Button.
And so I'm not going to add French Canadian. I'm going to add
Pitch.
another English.
Pitch. Use pitch. Rotor. English US. English. Add new language. Button. Selected. Speech. Add new English. 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 South Africa. Arabic. Saudi Arabia. English. South Africa. English. Ireland. English. UK.
Let's
Selected.
add English
VoiceOver.
UK.
Back button.
Okay. Now we have 3 languages in the rotor. So what I will do, I'll switch my rotor to languages.
Language.
Now I will swipe down.
English. US.
So you can see now we have English US. Now, since the rotor is set to English US and not default language English US, what will happen is all of the text will be read no matter what language it is using Ava's voice. And I'm going to show you how you can select a different voice for your languages. So I'm going to switch it back to English US as default language.
Default language, English, U.S.
There we go. Now I'm going to go where it says voice.
Speech, edit, voice, Samantha, button. Voice, speech, back button.
And we are going to choose Samantha HQ.
English, heading.
Which I already downloaded.
English, Karen, Lee, for Karen, button.
So now what you see
Lee, 404 megabytes.
Is all of the English voices available because we are in the default language.
Edit. Language. Headings.
You have all of the English dialects available. So I'm going to go to the English US heading.
English, Ireland. English, South Africa. English, UK. Heading. English, us. Heading. Alex, 869 megabytes. Download. Allison, 126 meg. Download. Allison. Button.
So unfortunately, you cannot listen to a sample of voices without having to download them. So to download a voice, two options.
Allison, 126 megabytes.
Allison.
Actions available.
What you do, either flick down when your rotor is set to actions. Normally it should be.
Download voice.
Download. You would double tap there. Or you would have a button at right that says download.
Download. Allison. Button. Ava. Button.
Ava.
Fred. Button.
Fred, which is basically an Apple voice. So in the English language, you have nuanced voices, which are Samantha, Ava, etc. You have Siri voices, and you have Apple voices that are available, such as Alex, which is used often when Alexandre is making podcasts. He's using Alex. So you might have heard him already.
Nikki, 100. Download. Nick. Selected. Samantha. Default. Button.
So it says Samantha default. So I'm going to click
Siri female. Selected.
on Samantha.
Selected. English. Back button. Samantha. Heading. Edit. Selected. Samantha.
And now it said selected Samantha.
Speak sample. Button.
So we can speak sample.
Hello. My name is Samantha.
And just to the right of that,
Samantha. Enhanced. Using 164 megabytes.
Samantha enhanced.
Swipe up or down to select a custom action. Speak sample. Button.
So if I
Swipe up or down to select a
sample,
custom. Hello. My name is Samantha.
we're going to pick her.
Samantha. Enhanced. Using 164 megabytes.
We're going to take a look
Swipe up.
at the action.
Delete.
So we can delete her
Speak sample.
or speak sample
Activate.
or
Default.
activate her.
Selected. Samantha. Enhanced. Using 164 megabytes.
Now I clicked her. So now my default voice in the English, when it says default language, this is Samantha HQ.
English. Back button. English. Back button. English. Speech. Back button.
Now what I will do, I'm going to show you how I put Ava into English US.
Siri female. 472 megabytes. Speak. English. Heading. English. Australia. Heading. Speech. Speech. Back.
So I need
Speech.
to back
VoiceOver.
again.
Back button. Use pitch chain. Rotor. English. US. Ava.
English
Enhanced.
US.
Button.
Ava enhanced.
Speech. Back button. English. Alex. 816.
And now, as you can see, because we are in the English US section, we don't have the other dialects anymore.
Download. Allison. What? Download. Selected. Ava. Enhanced. Button.
So Ava, I had to download her because she's not downloaded by default. And when I downloaded her, it downloaded both the compact voice as well as the HQ voice. So that's basically how I did that.
Speech. Speech. Back. Speech. English. US. Ava. And
So now what I will do, I will switch the rotor to English US. So I had to put my rotor on language. Now I'm going to flick down.
English. US.
And now we have Ava. So what I will do, I will increase her speaking rate.
Headings. Voice containers. Speaking rate. 60, 70%, 75%.
Let's say at 75%.
Pronunciations. Button. Pitch. Heading. Voice. Semantic enhanced. Button.
Now what I will do, I will
Language.
switch back to default language.
English. Australia.
Oops.
English U.
Default language. English. US. Rotor languages. Heading.
And if I return to speaking rate now,
Headings. Containers. VoiceOver. Speaking rate. 65%. 60%.
you can see that Ava is at 80%, right? Actually, the speed that I'm using for the demo is 60%. And as you heard, when I increased, it said 65%. That's because it kept the speech rate for the default English US. If I switch back to Ava now,
English. US.
you can see that
Speech. Heading. Edit. Button. Voice. Semantic enhanced. Button. Pronunciations. Button. Pitch. Heading.
she's much faster.
Default language. English. US.
Back to Samantha. So you can adjust the speech rate of the voices independently. So that's pretty great. You can have all of the voices that you want at different speech rate. So you might want to have Alex as your primary voices. Let's say you don't use English US as your default language, but you set your rotor to English US. You might want to have it, say, at 75%, and you might want to have your default language, say, at 60%. So you can adjust that independently, and you can do the same
Screen
thing with other languages as well as other dialects. And also another thing that I should add is that when you add a new language, let's say I want to add French. Basically, let's say I connect my focus to the phone and I want to read a French book. Let's say that my phone is set on English for the demo, and let's say I want to read French while it is in English with a French voice. What I would do, I would add the French Canadian language into my rotor. Then I would switch the language rotor to French Canadian. Basically what it would do, not only it would switch voice with a French Canadian voice, but it would also switch Braille table. So that means that if you have different Braille table, I believe in English the Braille is unified, but let's say that US Braille is different than UK's Braille. I have no idea. But let's say that I switch in French Canadian, the Braille table will also switch. And if I want to go back to English US, what I have to do is switch the rotor language back to English US. So that's a thing that I would like personally, a preference that we can choose. Like, do you want to switch Braille table automatically, or you want to use the same Braille table all the time? So maybe that's a feature they will add eventually. That's a feature that I would personally like. That way I could choose to stay in French Braille table all the time, because to be honest, I don't know English Braille. But anyway, I hope that the explanations that I'm giving to you are not too confusing. I know these are a lot of terms, default language, not default language. I hope this is clear enough. If you have some comments or some questions, don't hesitate to let us know, and it will be a pleasure for us to help you with that. So this was Olivier. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.
Before the end of this podcast, I would like to say thank you for your loyalty to this series of podcasts on assistive technologies. I would also like to thank our loyal collaborator. As a reminder, I would like to inform you that Canadialog will not provide free technical support on product presented during these shows and that are not sold directly by Canadialog. Please note that our podcasts are now available on our website, YouTube, iTunes, as well as on Victor devices by consulting the North American English suggested podcast list from Humanware. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can contact us via email at podcastwithiness@canadialog.com. That is PODCASTS at CANADIALOG.com, or by phone on our toll-free number at 1-888-730-0003. Again, 1-888-730-0003, extension 555, extension 555. I also invite you to visit our website, which contains a lot of useful information at www.canadialog.com. You can also visit us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for listening.